you will get the goodies accordingly. If you will not respond, you will not might get it. So, they will not. Yes. So, because it's just like you have trust issues with set timer, just in the same way we have trust issues with Bangalore traffic. So, it's also like Bangalore traffic is like, it's like we have a doubt with promise without a catch in the same way. So, let's call Nagambika for the next thing.
Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to Make My Trip's Front-End Engineering Conference, Upfront91. Today, we're all gathered here to celebrate everything that makes front-end engineering exciting. Performance, design, platform evolution, and the future of web, AI. To officially open the day, we have a leader who has shaped Make My Trip's front-end engineering vision for years. He drives technology strategy, front-end architecture, and engineering culture across our Make My Trip ecosystem. Today, he will walk us through how Make My Trip's front-end landscape has evolved and where it is headed. Please join me in welcoming Dhananjay Kumar, Director, Technology Development at Make My Trip, to deliver the official welcome address and an overview of our front-end landscape. Over to you.
Thank you, Namatika. Sorry for some time. Great, so good morning everyone, and thanks Namatika for the introduction. So, first of all, am I audible? Can you like back hear me? We'll do a mic test. So you know when we say ping, the response. Ping. Okay, ping. That's like ping. Okay, so health check pass, continue startup. That's how we boot our systems, right? Great, so first of all, good morning everyone, and welcome to our third episode of Upfront91. We have started this event, I think, a few years back with the hope that it gives us a platform where all of us come together and we exchange what all we have achieved, what all we are working on, and maybe inspire each other, learn from each other, and go back with some takeaways. So in that us. In that particular paradigm, I think now we have reached the third episode. I see few familiar faces from the last. Just 1 second, I don't see my screen. Can you do mirroring of this? Okay, sorry, I think we are still learning on this new mirroring system, on this system. But anyways, so last year when we met, right, we had a theme. The theme was very simple. The theme was about front-end engineering, tools and processes, right? We had multiple speakers across organizations, and we touched upon on various tracks, right? We started with Chaitanya, who kind of gave us a good glimpse of design system which Razorpay team has developed called Blade. And this year we have Shubham and Samvit from Make My Trip, and they are bringing the design system of Make My Trip in front of you. I hope that will give us some additional pointers than what we learned from Blade. Last year, Diljot brought lots of interesting ideas which he kind of brought to Udan tech stack and made it very pragmatic. This year we have Naman Sancheti, who is kind of going to share all his secrets and the hacks which he has kind of made to ensure that his debugging processes becomes effortless. Last year, Amit and Hadyan, they ensured that they gave us a glimpse of how AI is evolving, what are the capabilities they were utilizing on the client side. This year, I don't see Saurabh, I see Saurabh now. So this year we have Saurabh Rajpal, who is like powerhouse of everything on the client side. And I'm pretty sure he will bend our mind with all the capabilities which AI could deliver on client side. Similarly, last year, Rajesh took us, or he kind of proposed an optimal release process for a modular React Native app. This year, Rajesh and Astha, they are coming with their own in-house built observability platform. Last year, I briefly touched upon on performance and shared something on how do we do diff patching using shared dictionary. And I think it is excited lots of questions among the audience. But this year we have Vivek, and Vivek is going to take us backstage of browser and pretty sure lots of performance nuggets for all of us to go back with. So I see this year becoming a plus year of last year. Last year when we met, the weather was not like this, right? It was like pleasant. This year, something has changed in Bangalore. All of us are catching cold. I'm down with cold. Between last year when we met and this year, things have changed, right? Last year we were only flirting with AI. We felt, okay, this is something new, shiny stuff which has come. And let's see whether it could do what the creators are claiming it to do. And I don't think we were very confident about the capabilities. But see, this year the theme of Upfront itself is front-end engineering and AI. So I don't think we can have any confidence now where AI is not a part of. So that's a change in a year in a year or 15 months of time. So last year our state was this, we were just flirting with AI code assistant. This year what has happened in a year, it has happened something like this, right? All of us, almost every passing week, month, we have been dabbling with various different offerings, be it on the code generation, be it on some sort of automation flows, newer way of doing prompts. So the year has passed very quick. So much so that now I think we have come to a stage where AI is no more someone we are flirting with, it has become our co-worker, right? Today whatever we do, AI is default. So what we are doing here at Make My Trip, we are pretty much doing conversation to code, right? We don't code anymore. And I think that is where all our stakeholders, they question us, when you don't code, why so much time? That's something different topic to talk about. But yeah, the change has that we converse to code. To certain extent, we have automated our code reviews, though it is still far away from where we wanted to reach. Last year and until last year, I think we have been grappling with ways to query our data. We have been grappling with extracting insights from various data sources. But this year what we did, we have built something called Query GPT, where query has no more binding with some SQL which you have to write. You just ask something in natural language, the way you converse with your people, and then get the insights. So anything, whether you are debugging, whether you are resolving something, whether you are doing some sort of a response synchronization over the email, each and everything, AI has become the central piece for us. Not only this, right? So Make My Trip is a transitional system where over the last 25 years, we have kind of perfected our funnels. We feel, okay, this is the most optimal way for a user to enter and transact. But guess what? That funnel is getting disrupted, right? And we have taken that standard, okay, before someone else kind of come with the alternate, why don't we disrupt it? So, though we cannot disclose it now, but be assured that Make My Trip funnel in months to come, you will see something very different, something which to guess, right? So this is all what is happening at Make My Trip. For each and every process which we do, AI has become central piece of it. So something which was very much structured wireframes, now moving into something like a AI waves, a conversational funnel where a user could decide how the funnel should look like, right? So that is something which was happening on our applications, the way we code, the way we deploy, the way we test, the way we extract the insights. One more thing has changed, and it has changed for, I don't know, good or bad. The whole way the search happens has changed, and it looks like it has changed forever. So here is a graph, and maybe a question to audience. If you see this graph, what comes to your mind? Any random guess?
Google Trends.
Sorry.
Google Trends.
Yeah, so I think I get one Google trend. Anything else? So hint is it's a graph from Google Search Console. Now if you could want to maybe modify your response or give something more. Sorry?
Human traffic versus automated.
I can't hear you.
Like human traffic versus bots.
Okay, that's a good guess. Human traffic versus bot traffic, right, Naman? Okay, anything else?
The entry to the booking funnel is not only by Google search engine, it's also by the automatic bots like Flexibly or something.
Yeah, I think something similar what Naman is saying, right? I mean, yeah. So I think yes, you guys are I think guessing somewhere close by, but this is something more to do with people who manages our organic traffic, and they are having a headache about it. This is something called
It's SU and GU.
again you are close, so let me now jump to it. So this is something where what is happening, your impressions are going up, right? But you're not getting clicks. So in the search paradigm, this is called open crocodile phenomena, where if you are tracking your impressions, yeah, well, we are doing great. We have been hitting our all-time highs on impressions, but guess what? No one clicks it. So what's the point of being there? So this is what, and this is not happening with one company. This is an industry-wide state, and that's what even we encountered, and we felt okay, we have to do something about it. We cannot wait for this behavior to change, because now we feel this behavior is not going to reverse, right? I think all of us, if you ask a question to yourself, the way you have been searching now and versus the way you have searched a year back, do you notice any difference? Maybe now you are searching on some answering engines. Maybe now your search queries are much larger, right? And that is where even Google has brought something called AI mode, AI overviews, and obviously we have ChatGPT, Perplexity, and everything else. So that means now users are moving away from the traditional SEO, and that is the main problem statement. We faced it, and then we created our playbook. So at the Make My Trip side, we call it generative engine optimization. We felt, okay, before this becomes a problem where it becomes so tough for us to react to it, can I do something about it? So we took some calculated risk, and we started working towards ensuring that we are now participating where the users are. The users are now on the answering engines. So we said, okay, how do I ensure that the way earlier I was modifying and optimizing my applications for Google bots and all the other search engine bots, now can I optimize my systems for LLM bots, right? So we did multiple things, and I think we are making some progress, but yeah, it is a journey, and we'll see how we go. So that's pretty much, in a very nutshell, how the last 1 year has gone at Make My Trip. Just to summarize, we will talk about design systems, we will talk about our own in-house observability platform, we will get to hear from Saurabh about the AI capabilities, and obviously if anyone wants to know something more about GEO, I'm around, we can catch up. Thanks all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dhananjay. An absolutely powerful start to episode 3 of Upfront91. Our next speaker works at the very forefront of web innovation at Google, engaging with developers across the world, solving large-scale web challenges, and shaping how teams adopt web AI. He is one of the sharpest minds in the web ecosystem. He works directly with developers across the world to modernize and scale web applications. Today's talk is all about how AI is getting embedded into the browser and dev tools, and what it means for the future of front-end. Please welcome Saurabh Rajpal, Staff Customer Engineer at Google, presenting Web AI, dev tools, built-in AI, MCP, and web nuggets. Saurabh, the stage is yours.
Just give me a second.
Give us a second. While that is happening, hello people, what's up? How are you? All good? Energy is high? Did DJ set the tone right? Yes. We have to. He's the organizer. No, but seriously. I've known DJ Dhananjay, sorry. Only the people who know him closely can say that, call him that, sorry. So I've known Dhananjay for like over 5-6 years now, and I think I've been witnessing his great journey and aspiration to make web great. And hi, I'm Saurabh. Thanks for the amazing introduction at the beginning. I don't know if I deserve that much, but yeah, I've been with Google for nearly 8 years now. I'm joined by Arpit as well with me. We two have been working in the India ecosystem to make sure that the web technologies are adopted and you all are using the best of what web can offer. Also, so that we can fix the web together. Because sometimes you really don't know how to get some of the features or the feature requests or bugs reported. So we kind of help in that process as well. And today I'm going to talk about web AI. Quick raise of hands for the people who know what AI is. Very few, as expected. But seriously, you don't know what AI is? Again, giving you a chance. Quick raise of hands for the people who know what AI is. These two people are still confused. So I'll be asking you the question. I just wanted to know who I can ask the question. Alright, perfect. And out of these people, how many of you know how can we use AI on web? Brilliant! I see somebody I know. Alright, perfect. So today we're going to talk about various ways AI can be used on a web, and we'll also see some of the applications, some of the things which have already been leveraged by some of the top companies and ecosystem developers. Alright? So to begin with, I think, just to set the tone right, I think web is accelerating. How many of you are web developers, front-end developers? Great, thanks for the amazing audience. So, I mean, we all know, if we go back a decade, we've all seen where in countries like India specifically, we have been very app heavy, right? We have all felt slightly, useless? No. But we know how important web is. I think from the context of the companies, we all know that it has a superpower that you can build once, deploy everywhere. And all a user needs is a URL to access it. But today, when the way of accessing things is changing, right? Like if I talk about the journey, we have gone from the age of where it used to be just a static pages to now it is how AI generated and AI exists, right? And today, there couldn't be a better time for being a web developer. Even the way the users are consuming it, the apps are building it, they are using web components, right? So yeah, so I mean, web right now does feel like this. I'm the boss, right? Now, specifically coming to the Chrome, because that's where we belong, Chrome has been doing a lot more for the developers to make sure that web is healthier, it's being used in the right way. And they have been building a lot of features, right? You might have used this for building great applications, building more app-like features, but specifically when we talk about the web AI, Chrome has a very clear mission. We want to make Chrome and the web smarter for all developers and the users, right? So in that context, just a quick understanding of what we mean by some of the terminologies, because there is a chance that there is a slight confusion around what client-side AI means, what built-in means, and stuff like that. In that context, of course, we all know server-side AI. But today, the way people perceive AI on web is also what server-side AI is. You're building features there, you're using it on the web, like in a typical fashion, and saying, we know what web AI is. But that's not what web AI is. Web AI is how you make use of native features which are available within the browser, and how you bring some of the models to the web using some of the primitives that make it possible, so that you can use the accelerated hardware capabilities, right? That's what we call the web AI. So client-side AI, there's built-in, there is hybrid, where you use a mix of both, and we will learn more about these things in a while. So again, web AI is access to the APIs. Now the benefits of client-side AI. Anybody in the group who will want to talk about what could be the benefits? Anyone? Work offline, amazing. Low latency, perfect. Privacy, perfect. I need to get down, you all know everything. So yes, zero network latency, cost effective, enhanced privacy, and work when the user is offline. Cost is something which none of you talked about, but it's an important thing when the businesses think about it. And this is not necessarily to talk about how you can like literally have zero cost for all the use cases. It's more to understand there could be very obvious use cases which can be built on device, on the client side, right? Imagine, just an analogy. Imagine you have a cloud kitchen where you have best of the toolkits, the machinery, and you can literally build whatever you want to. You can literally make whatever you want to, right? That is the server side. But then there is home kitchen as well, right? Daily khana to khana hai na, daily to bahar you can't go. In that context, for the regular tasks, you can still do it in the limited constraints of a house kitchen, which is what the client side needs. I hope that makes it clear. I try to keep things very simple. We can go deeper in individual conversations. All right. Okay. So a lot of times we are seeing developers want to bring their own models to the browser, right? You might have used or developed some of the models which you have deployed on server side, and you want to bring it. You want to distribute it in whichever way you want to. Have some of you tried that already? Has your companies tried that? Or even like third-party models which you may have found useful. Have you not brought it to the websites? On the client side? None of you? Alright, don't worry. So there are things like, or the frameworks like MediaPy, Transformers.js, which is making it very easy for you to bring the models on the client side. Okay, imagine there is a hand detection model. There's a face mesh. You might have seen all these things. Look at some of the websites offering to try it on. What is that? Is it happening real time from server? It's running within the browser. Now, how is that happening? That is happening because there is somebody who built a model which is optimized to run in the browser. Now, how is browser enabling this? How is it allowing you to do it? Is via things called as WASM, WebGPU and stuff. Now, before going there, so if you look at some of the things which some of the companies are doing, one of the examples from a startup here, which is doing fairly well, Vision Nanny. It broke. Okay. So this is what Vision Nanny is doing. It is basically helping the visually impaired kids by doing these exercises, which typically used to happen in real life, in real person. Now, a major advantage of doing this is it saves a lot of time and hassle when you can do it right within the comfort of your home. Also, a very important point here, a lot of parents, how many of your parents here? Yeah, so you would relate. You would not want your kids' photos or videos to be uploaded somewhere, right? For a use case like this, the privacy context comes into the picture. If you can do something on device, it completely helps, right? And of course, the thing which was coming, you don't want your local computing like hardware to feel like this. Why are you bombarding me with so much work? Correct? Now for that, what we have is something called as WASM and WebGPU. Now what is WASM? I'm conversing with you in English right now. Right? Maybe some of you may know Kannada, maybe some of you may know Hindi. A lot of us may not know French. Right? And if I start talking in French, would you understand what I'm saying? Okay, right? You would need a translator in between. Doesn't that add a cost? Right? Not money-wise. There's a transactional cost. It causes some delay. Now, similarly, when you write the code, when it is not written or understood in the machine language, there is an additional cost. What WASM does is it compiles the code in the language which machine understands, and hence it becomes faster for computing. So when you're doing inference, when you're using some of the models on device, it becomes important that you have compiled the code in WASM. Similarly, WebGPU. Now, we all know that in the past we have been using WebGL for heavy operations like animation and stuff like that. But when it comes to some of these AI inferences, the model ML inferences, it becomes even more trickier. Right? It needs more power. So when the modern tech is already offering you web GPU, like GPU, this interface helps you take leverage of that and run it. One very good example of this is the Google Meets. Some of you, and a lot of video applications for that matter, you might have seen some of the features like enhancing the user experience. Now, what is a video? It's a series of images, correct? And when you do these kind of modifications, it's applying modification to all the images. Now, imagine if this had to be done on server side. Would this be feasible? Even if feasible, it would be a lot, like very expensive. It will be a lot of delay and stuff like that, right? So this is where, if you have used VASM and WebGPU, this will make it much faster. In fact, one of the comparisons that we did with WebGPU and WebGL, it started performing 22% time for using, like decrease the power consumption by 22% on MacBook Air when they started using WebGPU versus WebGL. So, a quick note here is, sometimes some smaller use cases may still work better with WebGL. Okay, so always do that comparison as a developer. Just don't imagine that, okay, I need to instantiate a WebGPU environment and do it. Okay? So now coming to the built-in AI in Chrome. Now, we talked about how we can bring some of the models using some of the frameworks and the primitives, right? Now, we don't always want the user or the developer to think about which model should I leverage or bring to the browser for doing a very simple task. Like some tasks we do day in, day out, or which are very easy. We don't want you to be confused about which model should I bring to the browser to do it. Now for that, there are few things which we are making available by default built in. If you want to learn more about some of these use cases and stuff that I'm going to talk about, you can definitely go to the Chrome Developers channel and watch out this talk from the Google I/O. But just moving ahead, the reason is highly efficient models will just work. Because as I said, we don't want you to figure out which model you need to bring in. And shorter download, which means lesser space requirements, because this is already optimized. I know you're slightly surprised and this is like, but it is actually like that. So somebody who just calls the console.log like a normal function, similarly you could start calling some of these functions, these APIs, and get things done. Alright? And there are 10 such APIs which are already made available to you, which is built in. Okay? Now quick summary there is, first is summarizer. As the name suggests, if you want to summarize something, you need not need to do it on the server side all the time. You need not bring a model. It's available right in Chrome. So it's at the Chromium level. It's supported by Edge and Chrome already. There is also work going on to make it compatible with Mozilla and the others. All right. Very simple, few lines of code, and you can do it. Oh, Amit will be happy to see this. We have published a case study as well. So Redbus is actually using this summarizer API to show some of the, like to summarize the reviews which the users can use on the go to make their decisions faster. Now some of you might argue this could have been done on the server side. But imagine you won't do it real time and then the reviews keep coming. Correct? In that context, what if till yesterday the bus was amazing, today there's something wrong? Just saying, right? And you made a decision based on the data which was processed 2 nights before. You want the local context as well, added, the recent context. This is what it helps with. Already generated, right? Yeah. Second comes the translator and the language detector. Very simple as the name suggests, basically detecting which language it is and which language you may want to translate to. Again, a very simple, like few lines of code. And there are 38 languages which are supported, which you can use here. A good example here is from, again, I'm just taking the Indian partner so that you all are aware. There are a lot of partners from around the globe who have been using it. But in Indian context, Policy Bazaar built their chat support, right? They don't need to rely on people requesting or asking questions just in English or some of the familiar languages. They can do it on the go. In fact, this chatbot that they have built for customer support is kind of using a lot of models, even for toxicity detection. So sometimes you may end up talking in a very blunt way or using some curse words or whatever. So you could avoid that as well if you run these things within the browser. And also, they are using the hybrid way of using mix and match of some of the models on server and on device as well. Prompt API. So prompt API for for extensions is already available since Chrome 138. We are in Chrome 143 right now. So this is what the status is that I've been sharing, just putting more context here. So it's available for the extensions and the original trial is also going on. For the people who are not familiar with what original trial is, you basically as a website owner can register your domain to start experimenting these things in the real world with some of the users, right? Basically, it's an indicator. You get a token, you add it in your website, it gives the indication to the browser that this user can start using this feature in the browser, and this gives you a very good understanding of how this feature is behaving. And since this is in active development, you can submit your feedback, you can basically shape the way API should work, right? For this, there is no Indian partner example that I have right now, but just to show for an extension that you may want to do, you could build. Yeah. So again, a bit more here. Prompt API is a very generic API. It's not a task API like a summarizer or translation. It's basically giving you access to the Gemini Nano, which is built in, which is getting shipped. Imagine you wanted to do something like in your own way, which is not currently supported in any of the task APIs. So you could do that very well by prompting literally Nano via this API. In fact, a tip here is all the task APIs that we talk about, they are nothing but optimized prompts that we have figured out for you. And it's basically prompting only within under the hood. It's just that instead of you figuring out which is the best way to translate or summarize or whatever, we are providing you the function which is calling this prompt API under the hood. So if you by any chance can prompt it better to do some of the tasks, please do try it. So no example, as I said, from the partner ecosystem in India right now, but just to show you the capability, imagine there's a website which, like you have extension, which creates tasks or creates calendar tasks based on what's available as text in any format on a web page, right? You could build that. So whatever you may want to do, if you already experimented or trying something, more than happy to hear more about it, but happy to brainstorm as well. So multimodal input. What do we mean by multimodal? Right now, whatever we were seeing in the text, right? We are providing a text, we are summarizing it. Output is text. We are providing a text for translation, it's translating the text. What if we want to provide video, audio, images, and all those kind of things? That's where the capabilities has been expanded now. It supports audio and images at this point of time. Imagine you provide the image to this prompt, and it tells you about the description of it. In Make My Trip context, just sharing an idea, if you're uploading images for reviews, right? Maybe there was some spot or something bad in the room, and the moment user uploads it, it helps it write a review using Writer API. Right? Because in the description, you basically get that there are these things. Just a simple use case in the travel context. So just standing in the Make My Trip office. Right? Again, very simple, few lines of code. What you need to do is you need to provide the expected inputs, type as image or audio. This is the new params that you need to pass to this prompt API, and then you will pass your images. For example, in this case, we are saying, can you compare the two images and tell how close this is to the standard image? Like it's providing a Canva object here, like something which somebody might have drawn, right, for comparison. In fact, a very nice use case from Indian context is from Nika. You can actually go to the website and do search by image feature. It is getting powered by this built-in multimodal API. So you basically, if you like something, like for example, I want to replace my t-shirt, which I really like, but now it's faded, so I want a new one. I could literally do this image search on the site. Or if I like what Dhananjay was wearing, I could click his picture with his permission, of course, and do it. In a privacy preserving way, because this is happening on client side. It's not getting uploaded anywhere. And you can basically get the catalog. Now, one interesting fact which they shared with us is, on client side, this started to work better than what they were getting on the server side. Can anyone guess why could that have been? Any guesses? Random guesses? No penalties. No, punishments for wrong guesses. Sorry?
Low latency.
Latency is not, but the results, what they were getting as from understanding of the image, they were getting better results from local than server side. Yes?
When they are uploading from the client side, right, there is no mix of images that they would have been training on the server side to get those results.
You are somewhere close, like you're saying they may have more images and stuff like that. It's related to image, the way the classification happens, but the point here, and thanks for that, the point here is, because of the limited capabilities, it could focus more on the object which was in the front and center. So there was no, if I can call it, garbage around it, like extra things. So it became easier for them to basically query their database with whatever params they were getting. So again, a great way of understanding how sometimes client side can perform better than server side because these use cases are like this. Alright. Then the writer rewriter, I was already talking about it maybe. So as the name suggests, you must have seen, right? Help me write in the email, in the documents, whatever. You must have seen that. And then it gives you the option of refining as well. So it's basically writing and then letting you refine it, rewriting it by providing some of the context. This is exactly what this does. Very simple code. Again, you could provide it set of params for it to understand the context and then give you something using the writer API. And then you can provide more params like shorten it, smoothen it, or whatever, and it could provide you a rewritten stuff. A good example again from the Make Button family, this is what they were experimenting with. Imagine a user just rates. A lot of times happen, right? People just rate. They just don't write. Because इतना time किसके पास है? बहुत important है. Holiday खत्म घर वापस. Correct? So in that context, imagine if it helps that they could generate a review by just selecting some of the params. Right? Whether the hospitality was good, whether the bed was good, whatever. And it could provide that. And on top of that, if they start using the toxicity stuff as well, they could ensure that there is nothing written bad, like really bad, which they later need to refine or filter as well. So saves a cost and developer efforts there as well. Thanks for making it for sharing this. So proofreading API, this is something which has been recently introduced. We realized that using the prompt API, a lot of people, because there are a lot of publishers who have the CMSs, they want to ensure that when people are typing something, the time is not wasted in proofreading. There are sometimes grammatical errors, there are spelling mistakes, and all those things. And it wastes a lot of time of bloggers, of news creators, and stuff like that. So they came up with the proofreader API, which is again very built in. Since it's a recent one, we don't have a real world example again, but very simply put here, 2 lines of code, you can do it. And this is a simple example, just to inspire you. Imagine there's a proofreader, like there's a blog post writer, you're writing it, and you have some grammatical mistakes, you just call the proofread API, and it tells you what should have been used instead of this. Be grammatical errors, spelling errors, and all those things. So I know this seems like very simple, but that's the point. We don't want you to spend a lot of time in figuring out how do we do it on the server side or how do we bring the models on the client side to do such simple tasks which you can do, right? So if you got excited with this and you want to try out new things, definitely go and check out the Chrome Canary. It's a version where the APIs get shipped before they are stable, right? And newer APIs which are in pipeline and stuff like that will be available to you behind the flag, behind the Chrome developer flag. So this is the dev trials. This is where dev trials happen. Dev trial comes before the original trial. This is for you to play around with and start imagining how you can start leveraging it eventually. So as I said, it won't happen that the client-side AI will always work for you. In which scenarios it may not work? In scenarios like our device can't run the AI models locally. We know we don't have, while we have amazing capabilities today on very powerful devices, not every device is as powerful. Similarly, not all browsers are supporting these APIs, correct? So don't think that, okay, kya zulum hai re baba. You can then leverage things like hybrid AI, where you can fall back to your server capabilities, right? Now I know from the experiences, it's not as straightforward as it looks. There is a lot of times you have to put in a lot of efforts to make sure that the way you're interacting with the client side and the way you're interacting with a different model on the server side, it becomes tricky, right? So that's where our sister teams in the Firebase has come up with the AI SDK logic, which basically calls the client side AI if it's available, if the device is supporting, otherwise falls back to the server based on the way you have set it up, right? If you want to try it, you can go and play around with it. It's not fully functionally done as in it's in the developer preview. By that we mean there could be very fundamental changes in the future which may not be very backward compatible as well. So that's just letting you know. But again, a great capability that you should go and explore. So now coming to the very like summarizing whatever we have learned, so that you take back these things, don't forget about it, because there's a lot of things that we talked about today. When we speak about the web AI, we primarily talk about three scenarios. One is the built-in, where we solve all the task APIs and the prompt API. We talk about developer-supplied models, which leverages WASM and Web GPU, Web LM, and some of those things. And then we have hybrid AI logic SDK from Firebase. Speaking about specifically about web AI built-in, this is the prompt API. This is the specific task API. It works offline. It's fast. It's private. Very good. Quick review here. This is the summary of the statuses right now. We talked about some of the APIs, built-in APIs, and you have these already available since Chrome 138. The rest of them are available in Origin trial already. I'll give you a minute to click the picture in case you want to. Otherwise, all this information with the statuses and everything is available on web.dev, which is where we publish a lot of material for our developers. And then the hybrid AI, which is the SDK, Firebase SDK I talked about. And then the developer supplied model. Again, this is something which is very important. We have seen people really wanting to leverage this because they have worked a lot on their own models. They want certain capabilities which is still not possible using Gemini Nano. Fair? In that context, all you need is some frameworks which make it very easy for you to deploy some of these models, which include transformers, MediaPipe, LightRT. Definitely go and check these out. And the web APIs for compute tasks, which is WASM, Web GPU, and WebNN. WebNN is also very interesting. It's upcoming right now. Anybody in the room who has heard about WebNN? It's for the neural networks. It basically helps you have faster inference on device. So some of the capabilities that were not possible will be possible with WebNN. So go and explore that out as well, so that the models start to feel like this. They can literally multitask and do a lot of stuff. So definitely go and explore these out. We already talked about real world use cases and case studies. I wanted to reiterate that there are a lot of amazing things happening in the ecosystem. There are global companies, including the India ones, which I've highlighted here, who are leveraging these already or already experimenting with these. This should definitely inspire you to go back and share with your leadership and start working on these. And since you all are developers here, I think one thing which solves, which is where AI is like changing the game, is how it can help during the development. So Gemini is now available in DevTools. When you, as a developer, if you open up the console and you're not aware about what exactly is going wrong with the errors, you can literally ask what's wrong with this using the AI which is already available, Gemini. There is this AI assistance which has capabilities to help you with CSS debugging, networking debugging, and all these things. Just to give you a very good view, if you are struggling with styling a particular element, you could literally open DevTools, click on the div that you want to fix, ask AI to fix it, and push it to the code base directly without leaving the browser. I can see some people really smiling, whether they're happy about it or whether they feel it's really not good, but I would imagine the first one. Right? I hope this makes you happy with life easier. Similarly, we all have faced issues like calls, this, that, right? When you're dealing with network calls. So you could literally click on a network call, ask AI, why is this not working, and it will tell you. Right? Performance. How many of you struggle with fixing the performance of a website? Right? Quite a bunch of it. I think all of us, right? Imagine if you could literally ask what's the problem here. It could tell you, hey, you know what? I think this is the problem for the LCP. You could literally just use fetch priority high, right? And this will solve the problem. And you could say, okay, do it. It could literally write the code for you right from your browser and solve it for you. right? So this is, I think, how all of us, all the developers in the room would be feeling like, Max, what do this about, right? Okay, now last thing here is, we talked about web AI today, we talked about how this is going to be a game changer, already going to be a game changer. One thing which I want to tell about is, today web is way more capable. I think I've been doing it myself over the years on this, how we have been evolving. There could be a better time again repeating for being a web developer, since there are so many things available for modern web development. You have things like Project Fugu, which enables you to build things which are more app-like. I'm talking about transitions, whatever you can imagine, to make more feel more like a app. There are things for instant loading, as well. There are modern UI users. A lot of companies that I showed today are already using this in production for most of the use cases and stuff like that. And then, if you want to learn more about it, go to web.dev/explore. Web.dev generally, we publish a lot of case studies and material there, so go and explore things there. And I hope this excites you about the future of web. If it does, give me a shout out. Does it excite you? Shout out! Don't act like this. Get in a formal set. Okay. So if you want to stay updated, follow these channels. We keep publishing things, pushing it on social media. I know there are social junkies, right? So we want to know more about these things. If you want, you can follow the Chrome channels. Also, very recently concluded last month itself, we had a Web AI Summit. There's a lot of amazing talks from there. What is already available, what is in the pipeline. You can literally scan this, go through this playlist. Two people doing amazing work in this space, Jason Mays, who is working on the developer supply models. You can see a lot of amazing work from him, so do follow him. Also Kenji, who's the PM working on the built-in stuff, so definitely get in touch with them. I'll give you a second to take a photo of this, and you can post Saurabh Rajkar promoting Jason and Kenji. But they are really doing good work. Okay, so this is where we come to the end, but before we leave, there has to be a fun element, apart from Rashtarke funding. How many of you are up for it? Do you want fun element or not? If you're already bored, I can see this like really yawning. Are you up for our excitement? Yes, you. Yes, you. Sorry for quick point. But I hope you did learn something. Now you will learn how to enjoy your life. Alright. Before leaving, let's sing something. Are you up for it? Okay. Can we have the music? Don't look confused. We'll build up on music. हम आत्मनिर्भर हैं. ठीक है? सबने सुना है गाना ये वाला? We will rock you. क्या करते हैं इसमें? How does the sound come? So 1, 2, 3. Continue, louder. Sing, instant. 3. We love Web2. We love Web2. Having a top of mind and trying hard to find a platform that helps you night and day. Doesn't help you with the way. Web GPU the case. Now Chrome got away and bring it to that. We love Web2. I'm in love with Web2, baby. We love Web2. One more time. We love Web2. I'm in love with Web2, baby. We love Web2. Repeating. Having a top of mind and trying hard to find a platform that helps you night and day. Doesn't help you in the way. Web GPU the case. Now Chrome got away and bring it to the place. We love Web2. We love Web2. Woo! Thank you. But before that, if you have any Q&A, and if we have like 2-3 minutes, I'd like to invite Arpit on stage as well to help answer some of the questions. Any questions? Well, I mean, we'll talk it through Q&A session later in the networking hours. But if there's anything particular, couple of questions we can take. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for the session. So I have been user of Chrome from last like 4 or 5 years now. But in last 1 year, I have seen Comet also coming up very fast, and I've used it extensively. So I see a lot of capabilities in Comet right now. So what are the things like you have seen as a challenge in as a strong contender as a comment? So I have seen like it does a lot of tasks in terms of writing an email, sending an email, summarizing a YouTube video. I see like somewhat like Chrome is somewhat behind in terms of that.
All right. What's the question here?
So my question is like I see where do you see Chrome in terms of competition with Comet?
Thank you so much for that question. First and foremost, thanks for being an avid user of Chrome and thanks for sharing the feedback with us. I'll let Arpit begin with answering this and I'll join.
No.
So, first of all, thanks for the question. I think it is safe to say, I guess, that we all love what we are witnessing in the industry right now. How many of you feel like competition is good for the users, for the developers? Right? We are incredibly excited by what is happening in the AI space, be it Comet, be it what is happening with the Perplexity and the other browsers. I think as users, developers, competition is really good. Now, I'm sure that you would have also seen what is happening with built-in with Chrome. Now, can you tell me what's going to happen? What will be the future of AI in 1 year down the line? Maybe not 6 months, maybe not. So the point I'm trying to make is it's very, very dynamic space right now. And whatever is there in terms of the browsers, as users, as developers, we should be kind of like just like be aware of what's being in the works. What I can also assure you, Chrome is very, very actively building a lot, many new features. So it may not be fair to say, and so is the competition building a lot of features. So it may not be fair to say that, okay, this is the point of time that we should compare one versus the other. It is evolving very rapidly, but it's very, very promising from what we see happening in the industry right now.
Thanks. And the only thing I would like to add is there are a few things which are already rolled out in the US for the Mac users. So if you are interested, check those out. There are blogs being written about it. But again, as I said, as Abhit mentioned, it's a very dynamic phase we are in. Things are changing as we speak. So it may or may not look like the same thing by the time it comes to India or elsewhere.
And if you would like to see, I think there's a YouTube video series built in with Chrome, and we all are very excited of what is happening with other browsers, and we're looking forward to what Chrome is going to build as well. I think there's a question.
Yes. Last question maybe before we move to the next speaker, because then I'm just looking at me.
Just wanted to check, like, are there any inbuilt MCP servers coming in Chrome where you actually can connect with the editors and do this? Use browser MCP and similar things. Is there anything inbuilt coming in for this?
This is the answer. It's already built in. I wanted to show this. I ran out of time, but DevTools is already providing MCP for you. So a lot of times what happens is when you are using some of the agentic frameworks, coding assistants or whatever, they are kind of blindfolded because they really don't know how this will work in a browser. Right? Imagine now if you extend that capability as MCP, like where you could literally start calling the DevTools saying, is my LCP okay? Is my elements looking okay? And it can do all the magic which DevTools could do. So it's right already there. The space is evolving. There are a lot more features being planned. So keep an active eye. There's a lot happening on the DevTools for developer productivity as well. We are already always ready with answers. The last question. He actually raised the hand first, so we can ask him.
Like we are using AI a lot from the developer side. So what do you feel we are feeding so much data? Like what is the
We are using what? Sorry again?
like we are giving a lot of data.
Lot of data.
So what will happen after let's suppose 2-3 years to marketplaces? Like Google is launching everything. So what happens? Like do marketplace exist or everything?
I understand. Okay.
What is the future of marketplaces in the world of AI? Because I feel like ads are getting removed. Even Google is promoting that search with.
It's a non-technical, more philosophical question, I think. Not the right people to ask, but we can try to process and give you some answers
In your
opening session. All right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Been a great audience. We are around. Feel free to come and talk to us today. Not between the sessions. Here are the other speakers after. We'll be talking more in the lunchtime. Thank you, Arvind.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sagar, for this insightful talk. That was a futuristic lens into the several new AI capabilities of Chrome. Up next, we are diving into the world of design systems, shared tooling, and designer-developer collaboration. These two front-end engineers help craft MakeMyTrip's design system and improve developer-designer collaboration at scale. Today, they will show us how Figma MCP and our design system supercharges consistency and productivity across teams. Both our speakers are incredibly talented. They are part of MakeMyTrip and they are shaping how our design system evolves and how Figma MCP integrates with our day-to-day workflows. Please welcome Sambit Panda and Shubham Chauhan, speaking on Figma MCP and the MMP design system.
Hello everyone, my name is Sambit. I'm working at my trip as an engineering manager in the hotel search. So before start this discussion, I just like to thank the Upfront91 team for the wonderful events and welcoming us as a speaker. So let's discuss today topic is like Figma MCP and MMP design system. How Figma helps us, Figma MCP helps us to create a design automatically, from design to the UI components automatically. I will discuss from that part. And how previously before the MCP we create the HTML from the design, there was some challenges. Like when we create the HTML from the design, it was a time consuming process, almost how much time, like 30 to 40% of our development time consumed while creating the HTML from the design. And after creating that HTML also, there are so many challenges. Like UI is not properly aligned with respect to the design, and so many elements are like a product like USS, like your button color is a little bit light blue with respect to the design dark blue. This type of challenges we face, and we again fix this thing, and this process is going on. There are so many error prone in this process. Okay, so by doing this process, we the time consumption along with the misalignment is an issue which is we face. So how we fix this? We fix this for the Figma MCP. But actually, if I say the problem is not rely with the designer, neither it is rely with the developer problems. It is the major problem is the communication gap. The communication gap between the designer code and the developer code. The designer language and developer language is little bit different. Designer speaks in color and spacing and font and border, whereas developer speaks in HTML, CSS, and all the values it converts from the design values to the CSS value at the time the issue arises. So to fix this issue, Figma MCP comes. Okay. How Figma MCP solve this problem? By discuss on that part. NCP is actually a protocol, standard protocol by which our AI agents in our code editor talks to the different tools. You guys might have used different MCPs like your Sentry MCP, GitHub MCP, or Figma MCP. This type of MCP you might have used. In this case, your AI agents talks to these tools with the help of this standard protocol called model context protocol. Similarly, Figma MCP is a bridge between the code and the design. How it's extract the design Figma values and converted it into a React or static component, static HTML components. We'll discuss in this in more details. Before that, what is Figma? Figma is a design tool. You must have used Figma in your day-to-day work to create the HTML or let's say create the webcam of your design. So Figma looks like a tree-like structure. If you see, there are documents, pages, frames, groups, and nodes. Each node also consists of different values. If you see, this is a design of a booking confirmation page where there are a lot of frames, and each frame is in a standard. You can see a hierarchy manner in a tree-like structure. Like you have used, you have seen browser document object model. There was a structure called head, body, titles. Like this manner, you can see there are also a hierarchical structure of the different frames. In this case, you can see in the hotel booking confirmation node, when user inspect over there, this frame is created and this frame converted into a JSON-like structure through the Figma API. Figma MCP calls the Figma API designed to create the Figma JSON, and Figma MCP calls this API and convert the standardized JSON, which consists of a lot of value, like hotel booking node having certain values like font weight, font size, the style of this particular node. These are the DNA of the Figma, you can say. Again, MCP use these values like color value, font size value, this value, and convert it into a tokenized format. Tokenized is basically a naming convention of the Figma values. This is, if you have seen here, the font body gold is font body SM gold. Similarly, with the font weight getting increased, the SM become MD and LG. This is a standard design which is created by the designer while creating a Figma design. So MCP converts this Figma value to the tokenized format, and this token again mapped to the React components. Let's say I have a button component, it's mapped all the style value from this token to the button elements. Whenever designer changes any value of the Figma, it's also reflected in the Figma tokens as well. And Figma token getting modified, and also it modifies all the components across your application. So it is an automatic process. I will show you a demo how this Figma MCP converts a design into a real components. This is a magic you can see over here. How in a shorter period of time this component design is converted into a HTML components. In this video you can see the prompt you copy from the design and paste it in your code editor prompt. And you say okay, I will create this specific node in a specific file format in that particular path, and it will call all the tools of the Figma MCP. The tools like extracting all the values from the Figma, then creating the tokens, again mapping this token to the elements, and finally you see a React component in this video. Here you can see a React component is created from this Figma design, and finally the UI looks completely like your design. You can see the final output. So, you can see the UI is completely look as like your design. So this is done within the 3 minutes time. But if a developer want to create the HTML or the components from the design, it may take at least 30 to 40% of the development bandwidth, which can reduce over here. And still there are some problems. Still there are some problems in this process. If I show you the design you have seen, there are so many elements like button elements repeatedly created, some key tags and S tag also repeatedly created. These are atomic elements which have been atomic components in our application, and some sub-components are already created in our application. But these sub-components are not reused while creating this HTML. So this is a reusability problem, and there are certain other problems like lack of design standard, and this type of problem is still persist. How we solve this problem? That will be explained by my teammate Subham. Please explain.
Thanks, Amit. Hello, everyone. I am Shubham Chauhan, working as a senior software engineer at Make My Trip Hotels. And let's dive into the other part of the story as something so how Figma person converted into the Figma design your code. And it shows some problem over here like lack of design standards, refactoring issues, and duplicated components. So we need to find a common solution for it. That is on the ground level, we need to find it from the root. That is, I guess, the solution is design system. So first, can we have anyone who can define like what is exactly a design system? Anyone? Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, so like design system consists of many UI primitive tokens, all the atomic components that we have, and it also like we have a fixed set of APIs and standards that even like developers have to follow so that it remains consistent across all the pages.
Nice one. So let me just read whatever he said. Design system is basically a collection of reusable components which is governed by some patterns and guidelines. So you can think like that, like design system is the DNA of your product. It defines how your product looks, feels and behaves. So design system majorly have two pillars. First one is component. Like design system have lots of components. Like first component I would like to mention is UI components. Like he said, like it has button, it has input field, it has these kind of components. And second, it has design tokens. Like whatever you want to define in your code or whatever you want to code, like you have to define spacing. So it has spacing tokens. If you want to have some border, it has border tokens, like what kind of border it will support. You want to define any color, it will define the rule like only these colors are allowed. If I talk about Make My Trip, only these are the colors which are allowed to use in your code base. So, and the second one is standardization. So, how it defines like how your code stitched together. The standard defines those guidelines and patterns, like how it will behave. So, after that, yeah. So, why do we even need a design system apart from that problem in Make My Trip? Like we were working without a design system before. So we discussed it with our design team, and like we discussed like why do we just ask why do we need a design system? So we have multiple line of businesses in Go and Go. Like we have direct like which you guys use direct B2C website which you book your hotels, and we have MyBiz which is for our corporate customers. We have another product called My Partner which is for our travel agents where he book the ticket and do some discount on travel packages. So, and even we have like I said, Go MD, we have Go IPO with us, and it is directly open for the customer to book the tickets or hotel bookings, right? So, all the platforms have their different journey or audience, I can say that. So, whenever, no matter what, wherever the customer or user is landing, whatever the platform, he should know, okay, yeah, that's a Make My Trip platform. That's how design system define the consistency and look and feel. That's why design system is required. So let's welcome our in-house design system named Cosmos. So it's a unified library which is built on the Cosmos design system, and it has mainly 3 libraries in it. First is component library, in which all the components are defined. Second, we have icon library, in which all the icons used in MakeMyTrip defined. And third is transition library. What like you guys can use the application, but if it's not feel good, you don't see animation, it feels like okay, this is like jittery animation, and it doesn't feel good, right? So it has the token for spacing, like I said earlier. It has the all the text tokens, like whatever the text come on the website, it has all the rules for it as well. And it has all the icons, like I said earlier, and it has tokens for all the colors as well. So it's just a small like how our design system built and what it has right now, whatever I said right now. So like as you can see, like I said, it has component library. Like there are lists of components which are written over here. And as I said, we have built the color tokens, which is for the MakeMyTrip only, and it's the total colors. And if I talk about the My Partner, like I said earlier, and these are for the Go and GI. So these are the like themes which are defined for it. Next, we have the icon library. As you can see, there are tons of icons written over here, and it's really easy to use. You can just directly copy paste the code and like use it in your code base. And third, we have the transition library for the smooth user experience, in which we have include transitions like fade animation, slide animation, and one more hidden animation we have created for it, which I will tell you later when it comes. So, have you ever wondered like how cursor with Figma MCP works with Cosmos? Let me tell you. Anybody have an idea like how cursor works with Figma using the MCP? Anyone? Okay. So, like simply cursor uses the API, which is Figma MCP is nothing but just an API which is interacting with as a tool with Figma. So here, how Cosmos interact with Figma design, cursor using its own cursor rules written over the MakeMyTrip design system. And whenever any developer gives the Figma design, and it reads the layer which is given by the Figma MCP and map those cursor rules with this design, with that design, and create the final UI. As you can see the rules written over here, it's the example of button component. Whenever it finds any button component in the layer of Figma, it picks those rules and create button with the help of these rules. So there are some problems which we have faced in day-to-day life. Like first, I would like to highlight the repetition trap. Like as most of us are developers, and we will start creating same kind of component again and again. Like if I want to create a button, I create it. Then like product manager comes like, okay, can we just tweak a little bit? Okay, we can create one more component for that. And this creates huge inconsistency. And when you have multiple products, like I mentioned earlier, we have lots of products. So it cannot be consistent between them, and this is not a good user experience, I would like to say that. So for this, we created a library, and our library is component library. So as I mentioned, a component library is the full-fledged library with the 25 plus production-ready components. Like it has some features like color tokenization, like I said earlier. There's no need to use the hex code now. You can just directly use this token and create the design or whatever you want. And it has some feature like configurable theming. As we have multiple platforms, this is the necessity, this is the need of the hour at that moment of time. यार एक थीम तो चाहिए, मतलब ऐसा जो मतलब थीम सपोर्ट कर सके कोड के साथ. So and the consistent typography. Like अलग-अलग platform पे if we see like different text, it's not good actually. So for the consistent typography, we have some rules which defines how typography works. Every text comes on the MakeMyTrip website is coming from the Cosmos design system now. So let's see how now. Earlier we see like how like Figma MCP creating design with the cursor without the Cosmos. Now it is powered by Cosmos. Now let's see a demo over here. We are doing the similar step what we have did earlier for just creating the design. I just copy the prompt, paste it over here, and I just tell the source and destination, like I want to create my component at this path. and integrate it into the that component. And I just triggered the Figma MCP over here and just start creating the design. And now, stop. Now you can see it start using the component which are coming from the Cosmos design system, that is typography. Now it is not using P tag, H1 tag, or span tag. Now it is using typography, and it has defined variant like I would like to call some variant like base W1, base W2, which is for like 16 pixel text, and it has some different font weight. Like it mentioned the class base, and W1, W2, and W3 are the font weights in the pattern. So for that, it start giving over here like base W2 as a variant, it will give you the text of 14 pixel with 500 font weight and 700 font weight for W2. Exactly this is the one. And now it is importing buttons as well from the design system itself. Now it has 3 categories: primary, secondary, and tertiary. You create the buttons over in the website, and it is now that easy. You can use the AI; it's the best thing. But as a developer, if I have all these components, I can stitch them together and just create the whole design in a very few seconds. Figma MCP is saving lots of time, but I can even build myself because I already have the components. I just need to stitch them together. Yeah. So another problem you guys are facing actually the PNG sprites. Anyone knows what is the sprite over here?
Basically, it's like a long image which you can use based on your requirement by shifting or translating.
Actually, he's right. Actually, sprite is nothing but a collection of small icons or images which loads as a single image for performance optimization. We don't need to load lots of images and download on the browser. It's just load a single image, and we use CSS property like background position to click on that icon and show it whatever we needed that. But single pixel shift in the sprite shape will break the whole sprite sheet, and it will become very pathetic or drastic experience for the user. So what we did, we just take all the SVG icon and expose them as a React component. And it also supports it supports dimensions, whatever you want to give, it supports colors, whatever you want to give, and even there's like external CSS as well. So what it does, it will not pixelate first, like you can take, all we know that how SVG works, right? You can just increase the size of the icon, whatever you want to do with it. It's that much easy now. So this is because of our icon library for that. So yeah. So this is not any problem we were facing. This is just an improvement which we are introduced in our Cosmos design system, but it is not part of the AI. It is just we are improving how user journey basically. So what it feels earlier, my product is consistent. I am using design system and my product is consistent. UI looks so amazing, but when the user uses it, it has some kind of jitter experience. And some pop-ups are popping out and suddenly closing it, like whenever we need any pop-up. So this is the, I would say that bad experience for the user. So for this problem, we have introduced our transition library. It has 2 types of transitions. First is state level transition, like I said, for modals and pop-ups. Like it's totally based on the state, right? When you show a modal, when you hide a modal, it's totally a state-based thing, right? And second, a page level transitions. So basically, when page level transitions, when the user navigates between the pages, so what happens? It feels like a jitter, like page is navigating, shimmer is loading, listing like if I talk about domain-metric hotels, listing of hotels will come suddenly. Okay. Now you just try this. You just see this animation. What we have built it. Now you can see, like if I am moving from one component to another component, it's just shifting, right? So you can see even more, like if I'm getting going from listing to the hotel details page, it is just moving it, and user don't feel like okay, page is not changing, even it's just a state of the single page, right? To give that experience, we implemented the page view transition, and it's not a single adoption. We tried it with the help of CSS animation. Again, that jittery effect didn't get over. So what we did, we adopted this, and how page transition works. Anyone knows about it, like how page transition works?
Text
Yeah, he's right. Like it's take the snapshot of the source page and the destination page and start transition between these two. This is the concept of view transition. So we implemented that and we got a very good feedback from one of my friends that is the user of the Wayfinder. And if you want to have the same experience right now, you just take out a phone and scan that QR code if you want to see it, how it works. Did anyone try it? How's it like? Anyone can give the review.
It's good.
It is nice, right? Like if you are comparing with those who are just abruptly on the like just popping out and this. So this is all in the view transition library. But if I talk about the future vision of the Cosmos design system, we are working on seamless token management. Like I said, there are lots of tokens in the design system, and if suppose Figma team or design team change any of the tokens, it should update automatically in my design system as we are keeping those tokens as a static in a static code base. So it automatically creates the PR and change it. So we don't need to like give the developer that time to save this. We want to save the developer time. Second is performance optimization. As we all know, Cosmos is new in Make Matter right now, and there is always a room for the optimization, right? So we were working on right now to optimize the build size, to add more transitions so that our platform look more good. And after all of these things, we really want to open source this library so that anyone outside from the Make Matter can use it. Right now we are working on it. So this is all from my end, and so if you have any questions, yeah, we are pleased to answer.
How is cursor using the Cosmos system? How does it map?
So as I said, we have written static cursor rule in our library. I can say that code base. And whenever like I just written over here, whenever you find any this like you know that it gives Figma MCP give output in JSON only, right? It can read the whole layer, right? And it can even read the component name. Whenever any text comes, it will automatically come as typography. And it is written over here, it has 16 pixel font size, 500.
Mapping is done on the cursor.
Yeah. Anyone?
So like you just told that you have connected Figma and it automatically raises the PR.
Yeah.
For the
We are working on it actually. Yeah, it's a feature that we are working on it. Yes.
You also need to configure the MCP rules and cursor for that, no, if some change happens.
Right now we are not thinking, but yeah, surely we can try it. Like, yeah, this is a good actually. This is a good suggestion. You will try it and you will see.
Also, like, do you have to iterate? Like, once you have the design, do you have to iterate a lot to ship that particular UI component to production, or the difference is very minimal?
Sorry, can you just come again?
So, like, when you build something through Figma MCP, like the quality that you want to ship to production, is there a difference, or do you have to iterate a lot on that?
Obviously not, because as you all know, like Figma is not 100%, Figma MCP is not 100% accurate to give the things, and even cursor is not 100% accurate. But we are able to save 70 to 80% of the time. Like we are able to achieve 70 to 80% of the design, and then it's just like minutes of work that we can make the similar design and ship it to the production. Right now, I cannot like assure that it will create 100% of the similar design. Right? It is not.
But also on the code quality side, like does it
does it get hampered?
Yeah, like is the code quality top notch, or like does it like there is some fallback on that end?
So earlier it was not top notch. Like Figma cursor is creating again and again same kind of component, like I said. But when we introduce Cosmos, so some part of the code we don't need to get even review. Like there is no need to get that code review because it is coming from Cosmos and it is already defined. So earlier it was hampering the quality. Now code quality is little bit. Most of the code quality is improved right now, and there is always a scope of improvement. As I said earlier, so yeah, we are working on it.
How predictable is the generation? Let's say that I have one design, I generate it, now it's in production. Let's say there are some changes in the design. Like, do we only get the iterative changes, or like we have to generate the whole thing again?
No, yeah. So what we have did for it, like I mentioned it, we just create a prompt for that, like prompt journey for a component, right? Or like इतना मैंने बना लिया, ठीक है? I created a prompt and saved in the parallel of my code base. Whenever I have changed in any component, I just took that context and provided to that this is the design, and then I can update this part only. It has already labeled those.
So in Figma, like designers can put the containers or component anywhere, like without any hierarchy or anything. How will that resolve to code? Because for example, there is no dev or that thing.
उसके लिए तो लड़ना पड़ेगा.
So designers have to.
So yeah, so we need to connect with designers. You guys did this round. This is not from our Cosmos design system. We have to legit on it. Okay, we will create design only when this is coming from Cosmos or labeled as Cosmos.
So we are talking about similar experience. So how are we handling the layouts? Since we are talking about similar experience over the network, how are we handling the layout?
So you are talking about the different platform have the same kind of experience.
The layout of the page, for example, how much space between two components, margin and padding, how are we handling that?
Okay. Like how much space between two components, like gap you are
Do we
talking.
have any restrictions for that?
So spacing tokens are already generated, right? When Figma start creating the layout of versus starting it. So it always reads that there is this much space between this component, and I have to map it with this spacing token.
No, actually, I see in the code that there are so many dips and
Like I said, this is not 100% accurate right now. We are working on it to improve it. Yeah, it is really helpful for us. Like we are able to save us and 80% of the time creating STL.
And also, the complex has support of dark mode. If in future we have to migrate over.
It totally depends upon the design team. Dark mode is now easy to implement as we have configurable theming, right? We can create a dark theme configuration and I can load it whenever the user clicks. It's a simple work right now. But before that, we don't even think about it. We can introduce dark mode, but now it is, I guess, a one-day job. Like if designer give me the whole thing.
Thank you for the talk. I had a question that if Figma has some components which the local version of Cosmos in the code base does not have it. So how is that version mismatch handled?
So I have mentioned in the cursor rule for that kind of thing. If you see, first we have to like I said, designer will give only that design which is coming from Cosmos only. If it happens, it manually creates it. I just mentioned it right way. So don't block the developer. It will fight. He or she will fight the designer after that. But yeah, right now take the design and just do your work. Thank you. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Samrit and Shubham. That was a fantastic deep dive into design engineering harmony. So, our next speaker has helped build one of the most innovative browsers of this decade, the founding engineer at the browser company. He brings unmatched insight into how browsers think, render, optimize, and sometimes even misbehave. Please welcome Vivek presenting the browser backstage, a peek into performance.
Can you hear me all well? Yeah. Okay, so before we start, I must say that Saurabh and they have set the stage on fire by doing three of the fantastic things that I love. One is the web development, second one is movie Hangama, and the third one is Queens. So love for that. Thank you for setting it. And I hope not to bore you much with the performance talk over here. So today we will be talking about the backend for the front end before the backend. That's your browser, what it really does, and what are the things behind the performance behind that. So a little bit about me. So I'm a software engineer, mostly work 22 years on hands-on tech building the browsers. Work across different things like mobile computer vision, self-driving, IoT, XR devices. Currently working as the founding engineer at the browser company building ARC and VR browsers. So I work as an architect over there. I'm a reviewer and committer on the Chromium project. I've been contributing to since 2010. So if you have used their tools in some way, I've touched you. So that's about me. And I also started my open source journey on the WebKit. That's about me. Then what's a browser? So any guesses?
Entry point into the web.
Sorry?
Entry point into the web.
Alright. I mean, this is the definition of Wikipedia, but this is something that I would love to dive into. This is the browser's anatomy. So you take any browsers, GR, Chrome, Edge, anyone. So you will see these are the familiar faces. So basically, you will have the tabs and you will have your web page, which is highlighted in blue. I don't know whether you can see that. So I'm going a little bit deeper into that one just to make you understand what browser's anatomy is, how it is comprised of, what are the things that it contains. So mostly all of us, we interact with the web page, which is the top layer that you can see over here. There is an address bar and then these are the tabs. And then there is a browser frame which is actually hosting all of the web pages that you interact with. So what's really behind this? This is just the face or the front end of the backend that I talked about. But this is the reference architecture of a browser, what it really comprises of. So we have at the base layers the networking stack, JavaScript engine, rendering engine, then there is a browser engine, and then there is a user interface. So if you see, this is how the progression happens, stack by stack here. There is a disk storage, and each one of these things, I mean, I'll be going into the details just in a little while. But as a browser engine, you might see what are the parts in it. So one is basically your autofill, location, history, all of the things that you use as a browser. Then in the rendering engine, you have the parts, layout, and paint. And as a JavaScript engine, you have parser, bytecode, interpreter, all of those things, and just-in-time comparison. So this is a little bit of diving further, that multi-process model. So how many of you know that your browsers are all multi-process? So what really happens inside that and how they interconnect with each other? So this particular slide talks about that. So all of us, we interact with the browser's main process, that's the UI process, which is at the center of this one. And all of your web pages are actually rendered in a web process or a render process, which comprises of your HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So at the end of the day, whether it's a React or like TypeScript, everything will get translated into JavaScript because browsers only understand JavaScript. So they are all processed in the render process. So do you know why this is being done this way? Because we as a browser vendors, we really don't like the websites. So when I say that, that's a bold statement because that's a security goal that I'm actually opening up onto my machine, that any random website can be visited and it can have access to all of the critical resources that I have on my machine. So we need to sandbox that. We don't have to allow any random access to these render processes. They are inherently unsafe. Any website, however we talk about its HTTPS or what, that's about how the networking layer talks to the other side and make sure that it is talking to a right entity. But as a browser vendors, we treat that as an unsafe environment. So Then when we talk about the graphic process, basically that's where all of your interesting things are happening related to the graphics. All of the things that you see, your textures, the images that you download, how they are actually composited with each other and then basically presented to the main process. So this is done via all this pipeline here. There's a shared memory where whenever we download an image, that is actually posted onto the shared memory, and from there it is actually read into the GPU process, and then it is actually given to the browser process for this kind of composition. So you will see that. This is a little bit of a JavaScript engine, what really happens within that. This is like a very high level. I have a separate talk about that, but then I don't want to really get into the details of this. But just to give a gist of it, this is what really happens inside the render process here. And so we start with the parser. So all of your JavaScript is actually converted into an abstract syntax tree. Basically, just tries to create a sense out of it. And then it feds that tree into an interpreter, and that interpreter will convert that into a bytecode. And that bytecode is actually run by the JavaScript engine. But then you might have heard about just-in-time compilation. How many of you are aware of just-in-time compilation? Yes. So do you know when it actually gets triggered? Is it something that whenever you write a JavaScript, it will get immediately invoked? No. JavaScript engines basically do a lot of profiling of how much of the time your loops are being run. And first of all, by default, everything goes to the interpreter. And then once it realizes that this particular piece of the code or the bytecode is continuously visited or executed, so it converts that into a just-in-time compilation. It actually converts that to a machine code, and that actually is being run, which is faster. Now, moving on to the next. So this is something that I really love as a rendering pipeline that you see. So here we are actually showing a demonstration of how a YouTube is being loaded onto this rail. So consider this as a rail track, and each track over here identifies as the number of tasks that it has to perform. So if you are running this on a 60 hertz machine, so you have to generate the frames at every 16.16. This machine right now is connected on a mirror display, so it is running at 60, but if it is not connected, it runs at 120. So which is basically 8 milliseconds is what effectively I have the time to do these activities like fetch, parse, execute the JavaScript, do the garbage collection, do the layout, styles, input and print. So all of these things are actually being done here. So you can see the progress that once the loading has started, it has not really rendered much meaningful stuff here. And because this is running on a tick, it's called as a vertical sync or a V-sync if you are familiar with, let's say, from the gaming side. So your computer is asking that is your frame ready so that I can basically change your display. So you can see that there is a tick that is going on everything, but on the second level here you don't really see any frame that is generated because your browser is too busy to do the rest of the things like fetching, parsing and executing the JavaScript. So that's the reason you might not see your frames on every level, and finally at the last you will have your frame that is ready. So that's nothing but your LCD or those interactive contents that you see with your page. So what's the talk about the performance without a demo, right? So I want to give a little demo here. So this is a demo which is going to run here. So where we are going to we talked about various phases like layout, paint, and the amount of time that we do, and then the vsync that we receive. So how do you basically validate that you are doing something which is understood by the browser and not draining the performance? So this particular thing, I have started a timer here, which is like run on a tick. It gets the millisecond accuracy and just splits it onto the screen. So what's so interesting about this, I am going to, let me zoom this out. I'm going to go to the performance panel here in the DevTools. So basically all of the browsers here are Chrome has this performance panel where you will see the performance panel over here. In that you've got to select screenshots and do the recording of the screen. And then midway, I'm just going to flip this between request animation frame to set timeout. So how many of you are familiar with set timeout and request animation frames? Right. So now that we are done with that, I'm going to plot the screen here. And I'm just going to pop this out. Okay, so just before we dive into the details, right, so what do you see here? Between the two halves, I mean, I tried to convert, midway I converted to a set timeout, and before that I was just doing this. So, any guesses what this track is showing you over here? So that's basically your performance thing. When you see a lot of the yellow lines on this other side, that's when your JavaScript is excessively being run. Okay, and whereas on the first half of the screen where you see a lot of greens, that's basically your request animation frame is being triggered by your browser, and your JavaScript is being run only during that instance. So you are not running your set timeout quite frequently. So now if I try to go into these ones, so you can see that at the top I can hover, and you can see at that point of time what was my frame showing. So you can see that they have, like, this is 102, this is 1016. So basically I hit the 16 frames limit here. But as soon as I go on the other side, here, so you can see that I am running this JavaScript more often, but I am generating the frame only 16 milliseconds because there's not much happening on this website. I am generating more frames than actually can be displayed. So I am actually draining performance here. So let's say where the browser could show only one frame, you are generating 3 or 4 frames, which is like a wasted effort. So this is something that I just kind of highlighted here. So I mean, once you dive back into the details, you will see what is really happening on each one of these frames here with the request animation frame. How this is just like these are the different phases that you cannot really see clearly, but it is like layout, paint, JavaScript execution. All are combined in a single row. Whereas this is the set timeout, you can see that here itself. So this is the first block at the top here. It is 16 milliseconds time, but your actually JavaScript is being run 3 times here. So, but then your browser is just going to pick one frame from this one. So, which is like an wasted effort. Now, Chrome or Chromium or any other Chromium-based browsers are notoriously well known as the performance hogs, right? So you see that, okay, it takes a lot of the resources, a lot of the constraints it actually brings in. But then we also don't have to understand what really is behind the pipeline for the event handling. So I'm just going to show you the high-level flow of how the events are actually flown, and then I'm just going to show you one small demo to show the performance difference between these. Okay. So as I said, all the peripherals are actually connected to your main process. You will not have any of your peripherals connected to your render process anytime. That means your web page. Okay, so your mouse is actually generating this stream of events, X and Y coordinate. I have just kind of simplified it. And then your UI process actually converts that into a queue. It puts that into the queue. It actually does the translation. I have skipped all of those complexities. And then it actually sends an IPC request. I did not really talk about IPC because of the scope of the talk, but then it forwards that event into the render process, and render process has to handle that with the JavaScript event handler there. If you are interested in, let's say, mouse moves, you would do that one. And then that JavaScript handler has to respond back saying like what it did with with that event. So whether it handled that successfully, or you want to prevent any more from the processing with the prevent default. So all of that thing has to happen in no time, and it has to send back the response acknowledgement to the browser process saying that, hey, I have handled it, you no longer need to do any more processing. So this loop continues, and if you can imagine that the only variable in this equation is the JavaScript event handler. If it stalls, if it takes more time, your rest of the queue will get impacted, and then because this is a finite queue, it's a kind of a flushed, it's a kind of a round robin, so it will be flushed because I cannot indefinitely store all of these events here. So I'm just going to show you that demo. So this is the mouse. I don't know where you can see that. I'll just zoom this again. Okay, so right now you can see that, and it just shows you how many number of moves are there per second. So if I just move this really fast, you can see that I'm having like pretty nice moves. Depends on how I'm actually using that. But then I'm actually adding a random delay just to kind of showcase that if you are halting it, this one, so how is this really impacting? So you can see that. So because now I'm actually moving it at the same rate, like 60 mouse events, but because your JavaScript is being stuck, I can see only like 2 mouse moves, and then those are all actually flushed out. So, yeah, before we go to the next one, I have another demo. I don't know if I have the time. I don't have time. So I have taken a permission from Dhananjay to actually go ahead and show this. So basically, this is happening on the MakeMy trip. So you might wonder, how does this all help in kind of easing out your day-to-day job, right? So now I'm going to run the same thing. I'm going to load MakeMy trip on Chrome here, just because you want to kind of also experience that. So what's really going on here? So you can see that this is our landing page, and let me open an inspector over here. I'm going to talk about things a little bit later. Okay, I am just going to adjust this a little bit, sorry about that. So if I enable certain things like the paint flashing here, so you can see how much of the paint is really happening on your screen. So you can see that this portion at the bottom is getting painted again and again because there is a constant change, and there is a change that is happening here. So I really want to get rid of this thing, and also you can see that there is a new here which is also getting flashing. And you can see whenever I'm making a mouse move, it's just kind of use your green rectangle first. Just show that which part of the screen is getting repainted. Okay, so I want to get rid of this paint back here because I want to avoid that. So I'm going to remove that element from this one, so it's gone. Now you see that there is no paint happening, except that the new thing over here. Of course, I don't have to cover it here, but that's what is really going on. But now, if I go back to this one and enable frame rendering stats, which is basically going to show you that if there is an animation that is going on, or is your page constantly updated, you can see at the top here, you are hitting 60 frames per second. That means it's constantly running. And then the second thing is, you can also go to the task manager, the multi-process model that I talked about. You can actually see all of those details here. This is your browser process, which is kind of sitting idle, not doing much. Your GPU process is there, and then you would also see your MakeMy trip fairly low on the memory footprint. CPU, you can see that it is kind of constantly spiking here. Okay, so why should it spike? Because you're not doing anything, there is no user interaction, there is nothing is really going on here. So with that, I will slide back to my slide here, and then I'm just going to go here. Do you know what is this number that is showing at the top bottom? Basically, it's close to 200K, 200K by 200K. That's the div size that is actually causing this render. Okay, that's basically is used to actually show this like a glow animation on this page at the top, so that we have this. But then it causes a constant churn on the CPU. I'm just going to show you how you can actually see that. So when you go in here, you can actually, there's a layers panel that you can see. You might not have this enabled for you, but you can go to the this 3 dots, then go to the more tools, and you will see a layers panel here. So this is something that you can go and open that up. And when you open that, you will see that this particular thing is moving here, right? Because there is an animation that is going on at 4-second delay with a constant rotation. Obviously, this kind of your tools is struggling to get with that one, but then you can see that its size is mentioned over here. And then it gives you a memory estimate that it is close to how much of the memory that it is taking. So in order to see that, if you can go back to the task manager, I'll just show you how this shoots up. So you go to the GPU, so GPU will settle down right now because we just switched the tab. So GPU memory is coming down here, and as well as you can see, the CPU usage by the GPU process is also has come down. But the moment I go back to make my trip and then basically start seeing at it, you can see that it has suddenly shot to 1.1 GB because it has to allocate that much of the texture size that we are using. And then you can see the CPU usage of the GPU process has also spiked up all the way to like it hovers between 10 to 18%. So I was just kind of doing the benchmarking of this one. This is a pretty good machine, M4 Max, which has a very good power rating, but then I have drained close to 82% since I've been kind of playing around with this one. So you can see how your performance impacts the end user experience, and also you can see that this particular machine is a beefy machine, but you can see the long tail of the machines that you will be targeting. You'll have to concern the performance metrics, performance data, so as to not drain it. So I showed you about that frame counter. So how do you basically enable that? So on Chrome, you have a command line flag that you can actually pass. It's called show FPS counter at the bottom. You won't see that I have it on my slide. So once you enable that one, you don't really need the dev tools. You can actually see this right appearing on your development machines. You can see it always here at the top. It gives you estimate of memory, how much it is using, and if you have some animations which are running constantly there. So these are the key takeaways from the discussion. Is like you have the show FPS counter, you have paint flashing, you have the layer borders. I did not really go into that one. And the last, not for the list, but there is something that interesting also that you can see here. Once you open the performance, the dev tools, press escape, you will get the bottom panel, and then here you will see a performance monitor. By default it is not there, so you can also have another three dots here, and here you will have a performance monitor. So once you click that, you will see a nice graph that is running, which is kind of constantly showing you what is really going on in your system, how much of the RAM or CPU usage that it is using. Obviously, it shows only for the render process. You are not seeing the other side of the thing. So that is the reason you would say that Chrome or Chromium-based browsers are resource cooking, because your render process is asking you to generate a 200K by 200K, sorry, 100K by 100K texture size. So I have to allocate that one, and that's the reason you saw a 1.4 GB shoot up on the GPU process. So here you can always see that. Right now you see nothing is happening because my tools has taken the whole screen, but if I go back to this one, because it's uploaded, you can see that you will see the spikes coming from the bottom. Yeah. So you can also see if there is a constant styles or recalcs is happening. So that is one indication to dive into understanding, I'm doing some more processing, that's probably I should be watchful about. So that's on the demo parts here. So these are the three takeaways here. So that's it, I'm done with the performance. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take it now, or if you want to reach out, I'm quite active on Twitter or X. So happy to take any questions over there. Alright, so all of the web workers are basically threads that actually run inside this one. So when you ask about the web workers, these are nothing but the thread level things at the OS level, but those are run within the context of the render process. So these web workers are not impacting any of the rest of the machinery because web workers are part of your web page. Okay, so there are certain restrictions on the web workers that you cannot do certain things. Again, that is to isolate the ultimate source of truth for the render process is your DOM tree, right? So we have to preserve that, and in order to avoid excessive read writes on that one, so web workers do not have access directly to any DOM manipulations. We can basically read certain things, or you can basically pass the data into that one, but you cannot directly do that. So how that is being done, that is at the I can talk about V8, that's the JavaScript engine that is powering it. So there are certain isolates, if you are familiar with that one. So those are separately created, and then on those isolates, all of the JavaScript APIs that we use basically are bound onto that one, so that whenever we call document.querySelector, so that is actually a JavaScript API, but then that is added as a binding, so that you will get a C++ call behind. All of this is done in C++ below the scene. And then your certain limitations, as I mentioned about, that you cannot do everything on the web workers is actually controlled by that binding layer. So that is how this is being done. I'm going a little verbose here because I have a lot more to talk about that, but obviously I want to restrict that. But then if you have any questions, happy to take that later as well. Thank you. Any more questions?
So, I have a question regarding the browser compatibility. The browser compatibility testing. So, what aspect do you consider when it comes to testing for browser compatibility?
Browser compatibility, right? Okay, so that's a really good question. So think about the website that were built in 90s, or the very first browser came into existence, versus all the capabilities that your browsers are exhibiting today, including WebRTC, WebGPU that he talked about, and also the basically the neural engine. So there is a wide spectrum of features that browsers have to support. So just because I'm supporting, let's say, top level or like very modern features, I cannot really leave those features which were added like 20 years back, 30 years back. All of them have to work. So there is a way in which certain deprecation happens on certain API, and then basically those are removed. These happen on the JavaScript level, not at the HTML spec, because HTML, imagine that you built a server website which actually created the very first HTTP protocol. That also works as is today. So I have to ensure that the marquee tag, I don't know how many of you know the marquee tag, it has to work today, right? I know it's a very bad thing for the performance of the browser, but I will have to support it. So the browsers have to take a lot more as a kind of a broad spectrum of things, and this is a kind of baggage, legacy baggage that you would have to wear. So that is where you will see browsers are, when you download a browser's binary, you will see ranging between 200 megs to 500 megs. Why do you need that much for a browser? That's where, because we have a lot of these legacy layers that will get added over the years, and we will have to maintain that. So I hope that.
Yeah, I will follow up on this. Okay.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, there are. Okay, probably this is the last question.
Hi. I had one question about the performance monitoring and tooling aspect of it. So we also tried to debug certain performance issues that we were facing in our application. But one of the challenges we faced was while using the performance tools like the performance panel and things like that, we were having a hard time translating the issues that it flagged in terms of FPS drops, like paint drops, things like that. Translating the flags that, like the things that were flagged by the dev tools, and into like code fixes in the application. Like that was a gap that we were facing while we were trying to debug certain things. performance issues. So do you have any advice on how we can like sort of convert the insight that we get from the panels and the tools into like code fixes that we can make or tool improvement that we can make, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Like everything evolves, same the dev tools have also come through an evolution journey on its own. So performance panels that I just showed you there. So I just showed you a rectangle or the triangle basically that was rotating, right? So if I right click on that one, actually it takes me to the elements panel. It's basically a pseudo element before that is actually being added to that one, and it actually also shows me what are its metrics over there. So now again, it's a case by case thing. So the tools have also evolved in a way that it actually pinpoints in the DOM tree. As I said, the DOM tree is the ultimate source of truth for the browser, how it is being rendered. And then I have the backtracking of which JavaScript or which element is causing that, what are the CSS properties which are coming into that place, and also with the lot of the insights that are being added through the developer tools and the AI part of this one. So that is where these insights are actually fed into the machine learning models or the AI models basically, and then you would get some insights which are actionable. Again, it's a journey, and that is where the feedback from the web developers say, this particular layer panel is good for helping me here. But then when I see the performance panel like style recap, it is not helping. Yeah, that's the feedback. That is something that the community would welcome. If you are up for it, the whole front end, the whole dev tools that you see, it is built in JavaScript. So it's a JavaScript-based application, so this is perfect venue for the front-end engineering here, so that you can actually start looking into that and start adding your contributions to that. So these contributions could be code, it could be also a bug report. And I can talk about that well later. I will show you a few of the things that are there, but due to the time, yeah. Alright, so I think that's all for me. So thank you everyone. And hope you have learned something out of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek. That was a way backstage pass into the mind of a browser. Alright folks, it's officially 1:10 p.m. We are hitting the most awaited agenda of the day, lunch. Let's take a break for lunch and networking. Please enjoy your meal, meet fellow engineers, exchange your LinkedIn profiles, or just judge people who are eating too much paneer, okay? Let's resume sharp back at 2:15 p.m. Please follow us on Twitter. Please scan this code and follow us on X, okay?
Close it. Or keep it.
मुझे पता नहीं
Save it. We'll have to save it, ठीक है?
ऑटोमेटिक सेव नहीं होता क्या?
I don't know.
जैसे क्रॉस बटन ऑटोमेटिक सेव हो जाता है।
हाँ हो तो जाता
देखो,
है।
सुनाई दे रहा है जो कर रहे हो।
पॉज नहीं हो।
तुम करो जो कर रहे हो।